Aloha. Let's make sure my volume is good. It looks like it's good. It's been a long time since I went live, but today's a good day. I finally upgraded my lighting. I hope it looks good. And another thing I did was like get a second monitor because it was a little difficult for me to like kind of use one because I like to use just one monitor and just like switch really fast, but I don't think it's feasible when I go live and have like two screens or three, sometimes three, four screens going on. And what sucks is that when you go live, and another thing I did was like get a second monitor because it was a little difficult for me to like kind of use one because I like to use just one monitor and just like switch really fast. But
This sounds
I don't think
weird
it's feasible when I go
because
live. And okay, perfect. I had I had my video up, so that sucked. Anyway, let's go back. So what we're gonna go do today is we're gonna go part 19 of who did I get married to. I did part 1 to 18 before. That was a long time ago, like 3 weeks ago. In the YouTube world, it feels like forever. But I did it because the ticket to the talk was going offline. But as we can see now, it looks like Donald Trump negotiated the deal with the company, and it looks like it's still going to be on. So it's looking good. So I want to finish the second part. Bear with me because, again, I have a whole bunch of new setup going on now. I have new lighting. I want to kind of see what things look like. So let's get started. So we're going to go from part 19 of who did I get married to. Again, this was like a 2024 like trending story on TikTok, the ticket to the talk. But I want to do it now because I finally got a chance to do it, to actually listen to the whole story. I know I'm late. I got it. I understand. You can leave that comment if you want to, but let's just get started. Okay. Let's see. Perfect. And let the stuff
He
go.
would be home every day between 3:30 and 4 o'clock without fail. It was so.
Again, it looks like she numbered like part 18 twice. So I think I'm going to start here.
Okay, part 18. Who the fuck did I marry? So he says to me, the way you're acting is real suspect because I told you it was fine. I took care of it. He was like, I ain't even worried about it. He was like, obviously, that nigga didn't know that you now married, that you've moved on. And so now he knows it. But for me, it was the fact that I don't do pop-ups. Don't come to my house unannounced. So if someone has done that, for me, it automatically feels like a violation and it feels like it needs to be addressed. So it was not as simple as, I already took care of it, it's fine, let it go. Nah, we ain't letting nothing go because you don't have my permission to show up to my house. And before this turns into something where I'm going to be on Fox 5 News, I need to address that with you because that is not okay. So he didn't like the reaction I had to the story he told me where someone basically disrespected my home. And he felt like my reaction was really suspect. So what I'm gonna get into the little details that he did not know about. So he tells me again, it was a black Dodge Charger. They backed into the driveway. A gentleman got out of the car and
I'm trying to recall some of the story. Again, I'm going to go through. I have to pause it. It's just various commentary. Again, this program it's presented in a various commentary kind of way. So basically I have to pause it, right? But I'm trying to recall like some of the things that was said in part 1 to part 18. So bear with me. And I know the story is going to go different places, okay? So we're going to stay here for a very long time. So I'm going to try to play it as much as possible, okay?
And he asked for me by name, and Legion said she's not here. So I asked him, what does the guy look like? And he said, he was like, why does it matter? I said, what the fuck does he look like? So Legion proceeds to give me the most generic description you can give. He was like, well, He was shorter than me. Ex-husband is about 6'3", 6'4". He was shorter than me. He was brown skinned. I said, did he have a hat on his head? Mind you, I understand that before marriage, I was a damn fool. I understand that. But every woman has that moment where you only gonna fool her but for so long. And eventually puzzles start coming together. For me, I felt like moving into marriage, certain things started coming together. So I said to him, did he have a hat on his head? He was like, nah, he ain't wear a hat. So in my mind, I am mentally going down a list of every possible man it could be. And it was only like 4 men. I had been in that house about 3 or 4 years at this point. So I knew all of the people, and I'm talking about from maintenance down to ex-boyfriends. It was a total of like 4 men. So when he said that it was a black Charger, I immediately was like, okay, I know that crosses out one. He said he was shorter than him. All of them were shorter than him. I said, did he have a hat on his head? He said, no, that crossed out one, because one in particular was a maintenance guy who always wore a hat on his head because he had like a bruise or something, and he was just self-conscious about it. So he always wore a hat.
Yo, Ken, that's messed up that you said that. I'm not going to read that comment out loud, okay? That's messed up, Ken. Yeah, that's hilarious.
That leaves 2. So I said, was he muscular or was he skinny? So Legion's getting all frustrated. I said, just answer the question. He was like, well, he was kind of in between. And I said, okay. He was in between. I said, so was he light skin or was he dark skin? He was like, I told you he was brown skin. I said, was he my complexion? He said, no, he was brown skin. That eliminates one. So now there's one left. And yes, the one left.
Don't forget to have your drink or your smoke, whatever you prefer to do, okay? Just have a little something, a little grape tonight. So enjoy yourself.
Would have been the ex.
Responsibly, of course.
That I had dated for 2 years. And so he was like, I know it was your ex. I know it was your ex. And I was like, that don't make no sense, because the ex that in my mind, I'm saying this, the ex that I had dated, he and I had no contact with each other, and he was not the type to just pop up at your house. That ain't his style. Not to mention, and I ain't tell Legion this, that man would not be caught dead driving a Dodge Charger. He hated Chargers because he drove it as a patrol car. So I didn't say anything. I just was like, that's weird. So what Legion didn't know is that at the time I had a security system. So I had a security system where anytime the front door, the garage door, or the back door was open, basically any entry point, anytime it was open or closed, it would send me a text message notification. So when he's telling me all this, I'm looking at my phone and I see a notification where the front door was opened and it was shut, all within the same minute. So for example, if it says front door open at 1 p.m., front door closed at 1 p.m. So whatever he did was within those 60 seconds.
I wish I could fast forward this. I really do. I'm still read like Ken message. That's hilarious. I'm not going to say who he says she looks like. I had to like Google that person. That's why I was looking at my phone. I'm just like, damn, that's messed up. Yo.
He's telling me the story of the guy got out the car. He opened the door. He went out there. Can I help you? And the guy said, I'm looking for, and Legion said, no, she's not here. And so he said the guy kind of was like, okay. And he was like, all right, thank you. And got in the car and drove off. Legion has also told me that he watched him drive out of the neighborhood, which means because of the way the house was set up, the townhouse, he would have still been outside watching this. I could be wrong, but something in me was like, that would take more than 60 seconds. So for the door to have been open and shut within the same 60 seconds, I was like, okay. So also what he didn't know, we didn't have a Ring door camera, but my neighbor did. And her Ring door camera caught my driveway. The view of the camera could see my driveway as well as her driveway. And so whoever was coming in the door, our driveways were right next to each other. And then on the other side of it was the grass. So it was a perfect view of my driveway. So she, I had texted her and I said, hey, were you home? I think I texted her the next day because I said, were you home on Saturday? And she said, no, I wasn't. What's up? Everything good? And I said, can you look at your security system and see if there was a car that came to my house at such and such time? And I know I did not tell her the reason I was asking, but I was like, is there any way that your security camera caught if someone came to my house at this time on Saturday? She's like, yeah, sure, I'll look. And so maybe about a couple of hours later, she texted me back and said, hey, I looked at the camera, but I didn't see anything. And I said, okay, by any chance, did it catch if someone maybe walked up the driveway? Like maybe it wasn't a car in the driveway, but someone walked up. She said, I didn't see anything with your driveway yesterday. So I said, okay. And I knew that something in me, again, was like, nobody came to the house. So now here we are, a month and a half married. And now is when I'm like, why the fuck did he make that up? Because no one came to the house. No black Charger came to the house, backed into the driveway. Nobody got out the car and asked for me. Nobody was looking for me. So now I was sitting in the bedroom thinking through all this, and I'm like, nobody got out the car and asked for me. How the fuck did he make that up? Because that's what happened. I'm looking at the text messages on my phone where he's telling me someone just came to the house looking for you. But no one came. So what was the purpose of that? And then something said to me, something in me said, he wanted to see your reaction. He just wanted to see the reaction. You had been too calm, and so he wanted to see a reaction. So this man gaslit me like I was Georgia Natural Gas just to get a reaction. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to part 20 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? Okay, part 18.
Okay, that was part 19 actually. So we're going to go to part 20. Let's go.
All right, part 20 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So after the black Dodge Charger incident, things were quiet. Legion was fine. Legion slept just fine. Me, that shit played over in my head for days and days and days. On one hand, I was like, I know nobody came. My head knew nobody came to the house. My heart was like, but maybe he didn't make it up. So the head and the heart were absolutely playing a tug of war because, again, I really couldn't fathom that he was making it up. But nevertheless, I filed it in the back of my mind in my little filing cabinet, my mental filing cabinet. So a few weeks later, we go out to eat at this restaurant in Atlanta. It's a burger place, and I'm going to do my best by the time I post this to put the name of the burger place on the screen. So we go to the burger place, eat dinner. Everything was fine. As we are leaving, he says to me, did I ever show you where my grandmother's buried? This is the grandmother that passed away from COVID in 2020. And I said, no. I was like, we haven't been over here. And so he was like, let me show you. So he drives us to the cemetery, which is not far from the restaurant. He drives us to the cemetery, goes around and around, and then it comes to like a little hill in the cemetery. And he was like, you see the headstone. The headstone had like the family name on it. And it did not have, for example, John David Doe. It just had Doe. Okay, so there were no dates on it. So it reminded me of just a headstone where it was probably multiple family members buried underneath it. That's what it reminded me of. And so he was like, my grandfather and my grandmother are buried there. I do recall him telling me when the grandmother died in 2020 that she wanted to be buried next to his grandfather. And so we're sitting in the car because we can see the headstone like on top of the hill from the car. And he tells me that that is where his grandmother and grandfather are buried. That the family was able to get her, her wishes were to be buried next to the grandfather. Okay. So as we are leaving, we take a different route home. So we get on the highway. If you're from Atlanta, you'll know what I'm talking about. We get on I-75 North. And we're kind of we're just driving around, to be honest with you. But we're taking the scenic route. We get on I-75 North because the reason why I remember is because when you're on I-75 North going towards Atlantic Station, on the right-hand side, you will see the Varsity. You'll see all these tall skyscraper buildings. One of the buildings has the letters NCR on the building. As we're coming up towards the building, he says to me, do you see the NCR building? I said, yeah. He said, the building behind it, my job bought that building. That's where we're going to have, we're setting up operations. And I was like, why the hell would y'all buy a condiment company in downtown Atlanta? He was like, no, we're not doing production there. It's just going to be offices. And that's where we're going to handle like the business portion. The production is still being done in Gwinnett County out in Duluth. And so I was like, oh, okay. He was like, that's where I keep the company car. So I was like, the company car? I said, aren't you supposed to be bringing the company car home? And he was like, I don't want to bring the company car home because it's Clayton County and it's a $90,000 car. And I don't want no problems. So he's telling me that he keeps the company car at the building downtown Atlanta that's behind the NCR building. I barely could see what building he's talking about, but he was like, it's the building right behind it. And so he's telling me that that's where his office is. So I said to him, take me to your office. I know it's a Saturday, but shit, you one of the VPs, right? So take me to your office. No, I had not been to his office simply because, again, COVID. So I was like, take me to your office. And he was like, I can. He was like, that's no problem. So do I have the other phone? I do. So y'all are in luck. So I can maybe reenact how this goes. So he gets off the exit and starts driving towards the NCR building. While he's driving towards the NCR building, he always has kept his phone in his left pocket. This is my left hand. So he pulls his phone out and he starts calling. He tells me he's calling Willie. Willie is supposed to be the head of security. So he's saying, let me call Willie real quick to make sure that the building's open. So he proceeds. This is another phone, but he proceeds to go ahead and call Willie. We're still driving, by the way. We're still driving. I'm on the phone, scrolling through Facebook, trying to figure out some random shit. But he's driving with the phone up to it. So driving with the phone. Next thing I hear, hey Willie, it's Legion. Hey, how's it going? I'm good. Hey, is the building open? No, I just want to take my wife up there so she can see it and see my office. Are you up there right now? You're not? Okay, is Mr. Justin working? Okay. So is there anybody up there that can physically open the building? Because I don't think my badge is going to get me at least in the front door because of it's on the weekend lock. Okay. Okay. All right. Let me know. All right. Thank you, Willie. Bye. Y'all see how I did that? He's having this whole conversation while I'm sitting in the passenger seat. So then he gets off the phone and he says to me, Willie is not working and Justin apparently called out sick. So the building is locked and my badge won't get us in the front door. He was like, Willie's going to see if there's someone else that can open the front door so we can actually get in. He's like, my badge will get us on the floor, but it will not get us in the front door. No one ever called. So when he's getting off the highway, he basically turns onto Spring Street. Again, there's all kinds of shit I distinctly remember. He turns onto Spring Street so that he can then get on 75 South so we can go home. Never saw the office that day. But again, this is where he's saying that he keeps the company car. So when we get to part 21, I'll kind of go into detail about the whole company car a little bit more. All right, part 20 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So after the black Dodge Charger incident, things were quiet. Legion was fine. Legion slept just fine. Me, that shit played over in my head for days and days and days. On one hand, I was like, I know nobody came. My head knew nobody came to the house. My heart was like, but maybe he didn't make it up. So the head and the heart were absolutely playing a tug of war because, again, I really couldn't fathom that he was making it up. But nevertheless, I filed it in the back of my mind in my little filing cabinet, my mental filing cabinet. So, part 21, Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So, the company car apparently was a charcoal gray BMW. I believe it was a 5 Series. It was a 5 Series. I don't know much about the sedans. Y'all know I wanted the X5 dark blue with the cognac interior. He got the BMW 5 Series charcoal gray. He sent me a picture of the car. So I did see a picture of the car. After this whole NCR building, take me to your office, that is what he's claiming, is that he leaves the company car at that location. He's saying that he drives from Riverdale to Midtown, switches out cars, and then drives from Midtown to Duluth. Those that don't know how Metro Atlanta is, basically Midtown would be in between where we live and Duluth. I only know that he left the house every day at 6:15. I know that I never physically saw the company car come to our home. Saw a pictures, plural. So when he told me that he got a BMW 5 Series, keep in mind, this is after I had been promised a dark blue X5. So I was a bit salty. I don't care if it is a company car. I was a bit salty. I will admit that. Because I felt like you get to drive the car that you know I really want, which is a BMW. And so he would call me from the car. He would tell me, yeah, I may just drive home in this car and not switch back to his personal car. He was like, I don't know. He did that a lot. And I realize now in 2024, he did that because he knew how excited I was to actually see the car. Because shit, I wanted to test drive it myself, to be honest with you. And he knew that. So, reactions. So he would say stuff like that, like, man, I'm so tired. I might just drive the company car, go ahead and go home. And then, just let me park it in a garage type thing. So eventually he stopped doing that because I didn't want to hear nothing about that car. I'm driving a Nissan and you driving a BMW after you promised me a BMW. So I don't really want to hear nothing about it. So in terms of the company car, I did see that it was a, according to the pictures, a charcoal gray BMW 5 Series. If you're asking me the exact model, I don't know. But I know it was a 5 Series because I know the 7 Series is slightly longer. So it's a 5 Series sedan. So after the whole situation with the cemetery to see his grandmother and grandfather's headstone, then there was the NCR, the office is open, oh, it's not open, Justin ain't working, Willie ain't working. Willie is supposed to be head of security, but he ain't working. Okay. So at this point, I'm already numb. It is important for me to point out how numb I became dealing with him. Mind numbing, because I just got to a point where it was like, there's always something. There's always something. So, of course, we're not going to go to the office because there's going to be something. So this is the end of February. My birthday had already passed. There clearly was tension on my end, not so much tension on his end. So I get home a couple of weeks later. We are now in the beginning of March. This is something personal about me. The only way you would know this is if you know me. I have been dying to go to London and Paris. I had a layover in London when I did a study abroad, but it's not the same. I want to go to London and be a whole tourist. I don't care. I want to see Buckingham Palace. I want to see the Tower of London. I want to see Paris. I want to see the Palace of Versailles. This is something, if you know me, you know, she wants to see Paris. She wants to see London. So I get home from work. This is the beginning of March.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to do like my double stream, but it's not working today, so I'm not sure what's going on. I do have to probably delete some parts because I let this play for a very long time. But yeah, so far so good. It's just like so many red flags she's skipping because she wants to be in a relationship. That's what it sounds like to me. Doesn't make any sense for her to just like omit all the like red flags in front of her. But again, it sounds like she really, truly want to be in a relationship. And that was kind of like a lot of my themes for the first part. So if you haven't watched part 1 to 18, you should, right? It just towards the end, I realized that, yes, she really wants to be in a relationship and also be married. So, but it is what it is because he was just a walking red flag. There's no way that if, let's say I'm dating a girl and she's like, I have this car and before I go home, I'm going to park somewhere. I don't want you to see it. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It's not flying. It's not working with me. Not working. It's I don't know. It's nonsense. But the fact that she let it go and just keep going is just, she was desperate. Just completely desperate and wanted to like believe that it's true and just have faith instead of trusting, but verifying that what he said he's doing, he's actually doing. But let's carry forward.
I get home from work and on the counter is a folder with like a little bow on it. And I'm like, oh, what is this? Is this like mail? Like, was this something that you got at work? He's like, nah, it's a surprise for you. I open up the folder. Inside the folder is like a trip itinerary. It is not an actual booked trip. It's like an itinerary. A trip for two to go from Atlanta to London. The trip should have happened and it was the month on there was like July. So it was a summer trip. So he tells me, I'm going to take you to London. He was like, I wanted to take you for your birthday, but
if he cannot purchase a car, all he started doing was just like test driving, window shopping, right? At what point is it going to be like, yeah, this trip is not going to happen? Like, she's better off just like going to the trip by herself. That's the only thing I'm saying. At what point is going to be like, yeah, this, you don't have a captain. He's not here to save no one. He's not a captain. He sounds like, I don't know. I don't want to say it.
Things fell through. He was like, so this summer in July, we're going to go to London. He was like, I've already made a reservation for us to stay at the Savoy. Again, there are certain things that my brain just was like, remember that.
I've been to like Paris and also to London. Beautiful places. Beautiful. When did I go to Paris? I went like, what, 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago. Last year I went to Turks and Caicos. Beautiful place too. Amazing. This year I don't know. I'm still trying to determine where to go, but it's gonna be somewhere probably in the Caribbean or go see the birthplace of Santa Claus, but we'll see.
Remember that. He said, I've already made a reservation for us to stay at the Savoy. I didn't know, as much as I want to go to London, y'all, I didn't know anything about the Savoy. And so I remember going to look it up because I was like, what is the Savoy? Well, apparently the Savoy is bougie. Very bougie. So
Bougie?
I was so
I like how she said it.
excited. I cannot tell y'all how fucking excited I was when I saw that he had printed out British Airways. Like, he was speaking my language. I am one of those people, I'm a planner. So when he's saying, I'm gonna take you to London, and he took the time to research flights and print it out and research the Savoy and print it out, and there were different not excursions, but there were different things that you could do. You could go see the Tower of London, you could go see Buckingham Palace, changing of the guard, we could go have high tea at certain places. He was like, I don't really want to go, but I know you're dying to go. So he was like, you know, I love you and I would do anything for you, blah blah, black sheep, have you any wool?
Oh, no. I had my mute button on. So yeah, I was saying earlier that I still have yet to edit the videos that I have and some of the pictures that I have when I went to Paris and also England. So, and yeah, that's life. But again, go back to the story and let's go back to the videos. It's not about me. Let's just say like he was basically a walking red flag. And at this point, I just realized that, yeah, I feel like if she would have control, basically saying like, hey, like he doesn't have what he have, right? He is literally saying this to like get with me. And it sounds like she literally had wanted a child too, right? She got to a point of her life. She realized this is the best I'm going to have. And I feel like she should have just been truthful with herself. Say, listen, this guy's a liar. The best I can do is just like say, hey, listen, this is not what whatever we're going to do is going to come from me. If she just acknowledged the fact that like, hey, she should be more financially like stable in that relationship, I feel like it would have probably lasted longer. And let's be serious. The guy does not have the money that she claims to have. It's not real. It's not there. At what point, if I'm dating a girl, if the situation was switch, that if she's like, I'm going to do this, and it never happens. And you can see it's not just the fact that it doesn't happen. She's like going out of her way to try to like create this facade, right? At what point is it going to be like, well, shame on you or shame on me, right? Because I keep falling for the same tricks over and over again. So at that point, it's just like, yeah, to me, the story should have ended like maybe part 10. Not 30 something parts. So what is it, 38?
And so he was like, I'm going to take you to London in July.
Again, that's never going to happen.
Trip did not include Paris. That's fine. But I was so excited.
Paris? No Paris on the street? No.
Excited. So excited. And so this is the beginning of March. I was like, this is great. hopefully this happens. I knew I needed to renew my passport, and he was saying that he had to renew his passport as well because his passport had expired. So both of us were like, okay, we need to get on this if we're going to try to make it to London in July, and it's now March. Me being the planner I am, I think I went to work the next day and printed out the passport applications so that we could fill it out and go ahead.
She's a good person. She's a good person, but at some point she should have realized that the person she chose, she needs, not only does she need to plan, she also needs to like provide, right? And am I saying that like who said is wrong? But like, again, she chose him. She knows he's a liar. At what point are you gonna say, well, like you lie about something, shame on you, right? Shame on me, etc. Right? Second time, right? But at what point is it gonna be like, okay, this is not okay? Like either you're gonna be in a relationship with someone that you know is a liar, and you're gonna say, well, I'm gonna make sure I don't get lied to, because at some point it's like she should realize that this is gonna be one of those like story time. Okay, because I don't know, it's just there's nothing he has done that has become materialized. Everything is just like it's all fairy tales. And get that process going. So, needless to say, something must have happened, and I don't remember what it was. We just simply didn't fill out the application for the passport. So, fast forward, we're now at mid-March. Mid-March, the decision was made that my mom, who lived in Arkansas, was coming to visit us. She would be coming, I believe, the second week of April, and she was going to stay a week, and then a few days. So, like, maybe a total of 9 days. Not quite 2 weeks, but a little over a week. So she was coming in April, and I was excited. Legion was excited because he was excited to physically meet my mom. He had talked to her on Zoom. He had talked to her on the phone, but he was excited to physically meet my mom. And my mom was excited to physically meet her son-in-law. So this is mid-March. I'm going to go into part 22 where I explain what happened with Facebook Messenger. Let's go, part 22. Let's go. Let's see, 38. What is it? How many parts do we have? 38? Yes, okay. Okay, so it's not bad. We're going to finish this tonight. Because last time the ticket to the talk was supposed to be deleted. Not supposed to be available in the US, but things happen, and there's a lot of story time on TikTok that I want to go over, the different stories, but I feel like I have to finish this. It's not fair that I only did like the first 17, 18 part. Okay, so let's get going. Okay, so I'm gonna try to make this at least an hour or two or so.
Part 22, who the fuck did I marry? So now we are in March. This is right after he had surprised me with the announcement of we're going to go to London for a trip in July. Because we definitely didn't do a honeymoon. We definitely didn't do any sort of trips together. So the idea was we're going to do a trip in July together. One thing about Legion was that he was the guy who was like, I have nothing to hide. I don't lie. I don't like liars. If we're in a relationship, then everything should be out in the open. So I've always had his cell phone passcode.
Trust but verify. Trust but verify. Anyone can say anything. Anything. YouTube, the internet is full of a bunch of like freaky zeeky. Shout out to Gooditopia, right? That she says that, right? But I've always got that like growing up in the tri-state in like freaky zeeky, right? Like the internet is full of very like erotic people, right? And just people that like will say anything. I don't want to get like involved. I don't want to say a story right now that going out that's about like this has been singer, right? And this has been cigarettes just like causing chaos on YouTube, right? And there are people lying for her. And one thing I realized on this YouTube is just like people will lie, but they're representation of real life people. So I say that to see this is like, again, trust but verify. She should have seen the signs. At what point are you going to say like, enough is enough? Because all you're going to do is drag this on. As you can see, all she ended up doing with the story, just like, it's just a little popular story on TikTok, right? But her life has been affected, right? I'm not trying to create part 38 of nothing. Absolutely not. Part 5, part 10, okay, you got me. Part 11, nah, chill. That's enough. That's enough.
Never felt the need to look through his cell phone. And funny enough, I can tell y'all right now, disclaimer, I will never go through a cell phone again. You cheating piece. So anyway, so one day, this is mid-March, going like around March 20th. So we're heading in towards the end of the month. He was in the shower. Keep in mind, my mom is coming for a visit in April. So he was in the shower and he received a text message on his phone from a woman. The text message, because it was a preview. So the text message was something where if you didn't know the context of the text thread, you could either go left or you could go right with it. So me being just curious, I opened up the phone, put the passcode in, read the text, then read the thread. Come to find out, it was a text from his aunt. His aunt and his ex share the same name. That's why I say it could go left or it could go right. Text was from the aunt. So I looked at the text, went through the thread, nothing in there. So I went ahead, X'd out of the messages. I see that he has Facebook Messenger downloaded. And obviously it shows you the number of unread messages in the icon. So it showed that he had like 5 unread messages. So I clicked on it, just being nosy. And what do my wondering astigmatism eyes see? So in his Facebook Messenger is about 7 women. I can see their profile picture and I see their names. Some of them had a preview. The ones that he had not read, I could see the preview of the message. One in particular said, "When are you gonna come get this?" Y'all know what I'm talking
about. What is she talking about? Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Oh man. Okay, now things gonna start getting interesting.
So I clicked on that one first. And I'm reading through the
as she should
thread. And so she's saying, "When are you gonna come get this?" But earlier in the thread, or further back in the thread, he had asked her, "When are you gonna give me?" And she said, "When lockdown is over." So from what I could piece together, he had not yet physically gotten with her.
And of course, he wanted her to be C-19 free. Of course, you know what I'm saying. Just be, you know, he wanted to be safe. Again, this is not humor. I don't add jokes. I'm not a funny guy at all, right? But I just want to I want to be clarified. Like I want a clarification, okay? Because again, if she sees this story should have ended exactly here. Like that's it. It's done. That's it. No, like it wasn't me. No Shaggy. Like none of that story. It wasn't me. None of that stuff. She's an adult. Like this is not her teenage story, right? So the fact that this continue on has to be shame on her. I know it sounds cruel to say that, but it's a fact.
But had there been no COVID, he would have smashed all day, every day.
Yeah, of course.
The other message,
she said all day, every day.
messages were innuendos, meaning the other messages from the other women were innuendos. They were not.
He's just trying to get a lineup. He's trying to get a a team lineup after COVID. And again, I want to say this: she saw this. So why is there part 38? That should be a part 22. Let's give a part 22. That's it. We saw a bunch of red signs looking like a soccer game, right? Red flag all the game. Soccer, what if you get like, what is it, two red cards? That's in you're out, or 3. But we're down to like 22. This is part 22. When is enough enough? When is enough enough?
As graphic as the one between him and her. So I'm reading these messages, and what is interesting is that the person I am married to is not the person in these messages. Like, this man was on some nasty shit. And I say nasty,
such as
not in a judgmental way, but in a, with me, he seemed to act as if I was damn near virginal white. And I clearly see evidence that you into some shit that with me, you acting like, nah, I ain't really into that.
Well, wait a minute. Such as, I want to hear this. Like, let's be messy. Let her tell us exactly what the message entail. Okay.
So, I confronted him. I absolutely confronted him and was like, "What the fuck is this?"
That's it. It should art. It should end in part 22. That's it. I don't want to hear anything. It sounds like I'm being enabling his behavior. I'm not, right? It should end right here. That's it. You're an adult. This is not children, okay? Because in adult, when you meet a lot of adults, you're dating or seeing a professional. Either you're meeting a professional liar, a professional cheater, a professional womanizer. You have to accept it. Seriously, when you start dating adults, that's who you're dating, a professional, right? If you see that, what do you think he's going to say? What do you think he's going to say? Oh, that's nothing. It wasn't me. You're going to throw he's going to throw the shaggy line. Like, it wasn't me. She even caught me on camera. It wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? So are you going to accept that, or are you going to move on? If you're going to accept that, and we're going to get a part 38, I wonder what he did in part 38. Like, Jesus Christ, is she walking? And he said, like, I tripped and fell into her. Is that what he's going to say in part 38? Because at part 22, it already sounds like we should reach like a threshold, but I don't see that. So let's continue on.
2 + 2 is 4, and 5 + 5 is 10. Mm-hmm. What the fuck is this?
Oh, no. What is he going to say? Well, it depends. Okay. How you define 2 + 2, right? Is that what he's going to say?
And so he did not, oh, that ain't what happened, blah, blah, blah. Instead, what he hit me with is, man, I was just playing around. Like, ain't nothing happened. I shouldn't have said all that, but I was just flirting. It ain't mean nothing. I don't even know that girl. I was just flirting. And so I'm like, is this what you into? And so he was like, no, it's not what I'm into. It was just stupid. It was stupid because I shouldn't have done it. So I'm going to be honest with y'all, because I've been honest all this time. What pissed me off the most was that here I am as a woman behaving, trying to do the right thing by him and this marriage. And you mean to tell me you out here offering your ding-a-ling to random chicks that you don't even know? I was more angry.
I really look forward to what he was going to say. I thought he was going to say some like, I don't know, that's AI. Shout out to Jaguar, right? The biggest internet like liar, right? I thought he was going to say that, but he didn't even say that. He just said, well, I didn't mean that shit. And she bought it. Like, you cannot hate the player, hate the game. Part 22, that's what he told you. And let's just carry on, man. I don't want to feel like I'm just bashing her. I just don't want to feel like, because at the end of the day, he is who he is. He is who he is. She should have accepted that and says, this is not what I wanted, right? But again, I feel like she wanted to like tell the story. She's like, no. We're going to go to part 38. The story ending in part 22 is not enough. If this was the climax, the apex, right? She's like, no, I want to reach them. Again, this is the apex. Like, where else could we go? But It looks like she wanted to go more higher because that's it. A threshold of like nonsensical kind of stuff. That's it for me at part like 3, 4. That's it. And 3 strikes, you're out. But 22 strikes? Oh?
Yeah, the fact that I'm like, dude, do you know how much I have turned down in order to be faithful?
Madam, I don't believe it, madam. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I wish I can like post like quizzes and like ask questions. I don't believe it. A person, any person that can like get more out of something is not going to tolerate this nonsense, right? Of like, we're going to test drive for the next like 2 years of cars and we're going to say we're going to buy a house, but it doesn't happen. Madam, no. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Either he was giving you the strong strong game or something, because or C19 got you really like feeling like, okay, you got to go through this. Maybe we should give it a C19. I don't believe it. I don't believe you were having it so easily available that we're in part 22. You're like, this is a walking red flag
to your dumb ass. And I'm seeing that you basically are out here acting like you got Skittles taste the rainbow. I was hurt. I was angry. I thought about getting my lick back. I'm just being honest. I did. And he played it off like it ain't nothing serious. It ain't nothing.
C19, the options was not really there, so she was kind of stuck.
Serious. Don't overreact. Don't get emotional. It was just dumb. He was like, I will delete the messages. I'll even delete Messenger. And I told him, I was like, that's really not good enough, because that's not gonna fix the root of the issue. So this is where I introduced that we need to do marriage counseling. He didn't have any issue doing marriage counseling. We did not do premarital counseling, but he was like, that's fine. He was like, I don't have no problem doing marriage counseling because if anything, it can help us. So I thought that, okay, he may not have physically cheated from what I could see on the messenger. He may not have physically cheated, but he damn sure got caught, doing a little something, because they had exchanged pictures. So y'all know what pictures he sent. And I was disappointed because I don't like men that send those type of pictures. But anyway, that's another issue. So we agreed that we would start marriage counseling. We also agreed that we would put on.
Madame, if I'm talking to a person, like, I like women. The internet, all the world we live in, I get it. People like different things, right? If I'm talking to a woman and she's sending her flowers to other male or females, maybe it's acceptable. Sorry, I have to be serious. I have to take this very serious. Like, could you imagine? Sounds like a fun time. Can I join? Anyway, I gotta get serious. So if I retake, make sure my volume is good. If I'm with a woman and she sends to a woman, she sends her private part to another woman. Not only does that sound like a fun time. Anyway, let's get serious. Let's try this again. Retake number 2. So if I'm with a woman and she sends her private part to a woman, that sounds like a fun time, but I have to be truthful. I'm really trying my best. I'm really trying my best, right? I'm really trying. I got it. That sounds like a fun time, right? But she sends her a man. That's it. We're done. It's like this. I thought I was gonna finish all the way to part 38, but the fact that like he said he's sending his private part to other women, that means he's still in the market. This is like plenty of fish out there, and he's still like, hey, listen, I need that extra. Like, I need that. Like, I don't know, that cat catfish. He's trying to get someone else, okay? Because if I'm with a woman and she sent to another woman, that's my madame. That's a whole different thing. That's a fun time. In France, it's a very, very good time. I'm serious. But again, I'm trying to make light of this stuff because this is not real life. Like at some point, this whole internet stuff, it's not real life. Common sense, you have to just like, you have to laugh at the idiocracy about this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? We got like, oh, we're not gonna go politics, but we're just gonna stick to this. Like, this sounds like insane. Like, why do we have 38 parts? He sends his private parts to other women. Like, what do you think if if C-19 was not there, he would have definitely tried to engage with those women. Okay, it just, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Okay.
On a united front.
I went places there.
Front when my mom got there. In other words, we were not going to argue. We, let's just act like everything.
He sent his private parts to other women. That's it.
It's fine. But at that point, when my mother arrived in April, I could not stand him. I did not want to be, but we couldn't, he moved back into our bedroom because he had moved into the guest bedroom when I saw the messages. Like 3 days before she came, he moved back into the bedroom because obviously she needed to sleep somewhere. So I really could not stand him. And it was because I was busy second guessing myself, like, damn, what's wrong with me? Like, if that's what you into and I'm supposed to be your wife, like, let's have conversation.
Can we get what he's into? Like, or what? Like, if I'm dating a girl and she sends some private parts to other girls, I'll say, okay, she's into a good time. In France, that's what they like. I'm kidding.
She's like,
I'm serious though.
I went to FAMU. I understand some stuff, buddy. So it just was one of those things where it made me second guess, like, what's wrong with me? What did I do?
I want to take this part very seriously. If you're dating someone that like fancy other people, it's not you. I promise you, it's not you. That's like an adult star that like, that's what they do. That's why I always kind of see that as like adult star, like that do stuff like that go from one part to another, right? It's not nothing to do with you. It's just people appetite is different, right? Some people don't like to eat like rice every day. Some people say like, hey, this fried rice, this French fries, I don't like it every day. I want lo mein, I want fish, I want like Chinese, I want the Germany burger, I want the Indian rice. You know what I'm saying? It's not you. They just have a very big appetite. Could you imagine?
I'd be wrong. What is it that she got that I don't?
This place is not serious, okay? This is the internet. This is not serious. This is not a serious land. Don't take anything I say seriously, okay? It's not humor. It's not even funny. Could you imagine?
Because you all out here willy-nilly, messaging her all hours of the night, because the thread went back quite a few weeks.
That's why I get a little bit serious. Oh, come on. I feel like I need a suit and tie for this. Come on. Just part 38, though.
I saw it in March. There were messages from December, November. So again, I'm just second guessing all kinds of stuff. Self-esteem taking a hit. So no, I did not want to be around him. I did not want. I didn't like him. Period. I did not like him. I left and I would just go for a drive because driving clears my mind. I called my aunt, told her what happened. I don't recommend that. I don't recommend calling family to tell them what's going on in your marriage. But I called my aunt.
I disagree slightly because I feel like if you don't tell anyone, right? I feel like it's the kind of person you tell. If you know you're talking to someone who likes like, who their mouth is more like, if you tell them, you're gonna tell every single person. Maybe you're right. Like, you shouldn't tell that person, but you should have someone in your family you could talk to, right? Not friends, but like family. Say, hey, this is what I'm going through right now, right? And I'm not talking about your parents. Parents are a little bit different. Parents is like, at some point, they may not see that person the same way you see them, and mostly if you're going through something with them, right? It's just short term, because mom and dad is just different. It's just different, right? But you should have some kind of uncle or someone in your family that you can kind of like say some of the stuff to, that hopefully they don't talk to other family members, so just kind of give you their different perspective of seeing things. Okay, but again, I wanted to go to all the way to part 38. I'm not sure I'm going to do that. I'm not sure I'm going to do that, because if you see him sending nudes, he's sending his Johnson to someone else. He's trying to, like, you know what I'm saying? That to me, it's not even a red flag. He's like, listen, either you're going to have an open relationship, that's it, open the relationship, or this is more for entertainment, and I'm ready to be entertained.
And my aunt lovingly was like, what do you want me to say? You married him. You know, he ain't your boyfriend. Y'all can't just break up. That's the hard part about marriage, is like, I mean, yeah, I guess you could leave him, but at the same time, you married him. So, honey, you're going to have to go back home. And y'all are going to have to figure this out. She was like, I can't give you advice on what you should do. I'm sorry that this happened. But you married him. So even though it was just one drive, I went back home, and that's when the discussion was, we need to do marriage counseling. Part 22, who the fuck?
Part 23, who the fuck did I marry? So we agreed to do marriage counseling. I had found a pastor and his wife who agreed to do our counseling, basically. Our counseling was going to be on Zoom, and it was going to be every other week, every other Tuesday. Initially, Legion was participating in it. His body language seemed to be that he was open and receptive to the marriage counseling.
Madame, if you're able to read his body language, you couldn't tell that if he's sending nudes to other women, right? I get the talking, yes, I don't, you know what I'm saying, it's different and whatever the case may be, right? We can argue that all day, right? But like actually going through and sending nudes, and she's sending nude back, come on. Like, you're such a good like body language reader, but like, what do you think about that? Like, that should be like, yeah, that's it, the relationship is over. So again, I'm going through this motion right now, because apparently my reaction is over. To tell you the truth, I'm just like, because I did another story previously that was just so horrible. It just sounds so fake. It was like she saw red lines, and she's just like, oh, just hop and skip over it. I'm like, I'm not gonna do this. If you're willing to go through that relationship and just like, you know, it's all red flags, like I'm starting to see now, I just can't do it. I just can't like stay there, listen to you. It just makes it feel more like an idiot, right? But the moment she said she saw her husband getting nudes from other women and he's sending some to, because at first I was like, maybe she married to Brad Pitt. Like, you know how much nudes women send to Brad Pitt? I'm like, maybe he's just like an awesome guy. A woman is like, hey, I like you, and just I want you to see my nudes. That's it. I don't know. Maybe he's an artist. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. like I'm kidding, but anyway, like at this point, it's just like, I'm so over the story. But don't forget to like subscribe and like this video. I have other stories I'm gonna go over, and let's hopefully it's real, and let's have some like, I like a little drama. Again, this is a drama filled like channel, but I just don't want to be an idiot. This is starting to sound like, I don't know. It just sounds very like, it sounds very sad.
The pastor and his wife
and desperate
were deeply concerned at the fact that we had only been married 3 months and we were already dealing with some form of infidelity. We were
3 months. 3 months. That just started. What they...
in marriage counseling, and as the pastor would put it, there seems to not be any sort of intimacy. They were concerned. Rightfully so. I think any person would be if they knew what was going on within those 3 months. So, the pastor and his wife, it is fair to note, we started counseling with them in the spring. We continued counseling with them up until a week before I found out what I found out, and he got kicked out. So one of the first things that the pastor kind of talked to us about was, what was the deal with the Facebook Messenger stuff? And Legion was like, it was stupid. I shouldn't have done it. It really was just attention, and I got carried away. He felt like he was not going to, he kept saying, I'm not going to keep apologizing. I'm not going to keep getting persecuted. After I told you, I'm sorry, I told you I wouldn't do it again, and I want us to move forward. You're either going to forgive me or you're not. The pastor and his wife were like, wow, the audacity is real on this one. So needless to say, we started moving slowly forward. It was always in the back of my mind, just like it was in the back of my mind with that black Dodge Charger. It was one of those things where, okay, I see how you kind of are moving and operating. He came to me a few days after we started our first counseling session, and he was like, we should get a joint bank account. What he wanted to do was to each one of us have our own account, and to get a joint account for our money to go in there for joint expenses. Now, up until this point, he had been paying the rent, the utilities, and I really was just paying for my stuff. So now he's suggesting, look, we're married now, let's go ahead and get a joint.
So I hope she's saved. And this is a thing that was just very like perplexing about this whole like scheme, because I'm starting to think he really likes her, but the thing is that he's not a one woman kind of person, right? He just don't know how to say, because I'm expecting him to, like, I don't know, have a house under her name and she doesn't know about it. I'm expecting him to like open a bank account. He doesn't do that. He's just like, he's paying the rent. She's like, oh, I love this. A man that pays the rent and treats me as a dependent. Woohoo, woohoo. So it's like, I don't get that part, but that's why I think she probably hang around them more. She's like, well, at least I'm getting free rent. And that free rent led to like part 38. Because part 3, you know what I think would have happened? If she was paying rent, I don't think we probably got to part 23. If he was doing all this like fuckery, right? Sorry, I think I'm past 10 minutes. I can curse, right? If he was doing all this fuckery, I don't think we would have got this far. I think she I'm sorry. If he was paying rent, she was paying rent and doing all this fuckery, she would have been like, nah, this is too much. It's only so much a person can take. But I felt like because she was not paying rent, right? And so she felt like, how long can I ride this out? Because this makes zero sense to me. Because she comes up very rational. And that's what scares me. It's like, what flag do you need to see? Do you need to see like someone in real life coming as like a soccer referee and says, Madam, this is a red flag. This is not acceptable. And just like throw it down and just like, that's it. You're done, ma'am. Like, what flag does she need to see? Because this is unacceptable. And she sounds so rational. And that's what scares me.
On account. I wasn't necessarily against it because I knew that I would still have my own account. I would still have my own savings. So what I countered with was, okay, let's take a look and see what we're working with. Show me your checking. Let's look at each other's accounts.
Whoa.
Look at what we have
Whoa.
currently.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. She's rational.
So he shows me his checking account. His checking account available balance was
$2 million.
about, it was just over 9,600. Mine was just over 1,500. So there was a huge disparity in the amounts.
Wait a minute.
So there was a huge disparity.
What is
just over 9,600. Mine was just over 1,500. So there was a huge
Madame, wait, she's not paying for rent. Am I missing something? I feel like I'm being like God. I feel like he pulled the like, he did a little like, you know, a little bob and weave and on her, right? And she's doing a little bob and weave on me. I'm not sure, man. He gave her so much game now that she's like giving us the game. Can you imagine? But I'm just saying, because she's not paying for anything. So how come the bank account, her bank account is drier than like the Sahara Desert?
Disparity in the amounts. And so he logged in on the phone and turned it towards me, and I could see available checking, you know, available balance, just over 9,600. I logged into my savings. I showed him how much I had in savings. He logged into, picked up his phone, logged into his Chase savings, turned the phone towards me. In the Chase savings, it was roughly about 15,000. But I also knew that he told me he had a U.S. bank savings and he had an offshore savings. So at this point in time, I asked him, show me the U.S. bank savings, show me the other two accounts. He would not do it. This became a huge bone of contention. He would not show me the two accounts that he claims has the most money in there, the accounts that he claims has money for a house in there, because he still was mentioning, hey, we need to get on this house thing if we're going to move when the lease is up. So I'm just adamant on, why don't you want to show me your savings account? You showed me the Chase one. Like, what is the big deal? And so he kept saying, he was like, there's a lot of money in there. And he was like, and my uncle always taught me, this is not the uncle that died, another uncle. My uncle always told me, you know, just keep your money tight because women can be, I said, women, like, we're married. So go ahead and show it to me. He would not show it to me. So then we went back into marriage counseling, like the next session. And I bring it up. I said, he will not show me these two accounts that he claims has the money.
Listen, she has a very valid point, man. Girlfriends, the little like fun girls, the other type of girls, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's not the same as like marrying someone and have to disclose, like, this is what you have. What if he would have real money? He would have said, well, it's tied up in a trust. He would have been like, that trust, I have no control over it. Irrevocable trust. That's what would happen if he has real money. Like, you know what I'm saying? He would have been like, well, that trust I can't even touch, right? I can't show you, because I feel like me saying that now, the next scammer is going to be like, well, Madame, this trust is the friend. It's a family trust. But anyway, so like, if you marry someone, it's very important to like disclose that information. You know what I'm saying? Because again, you're building a unity right now. But this story should have ended a long time ago, and I think I'm going to end this story a little bit soon too. I'm kind of over it. I'm really over it. There's so many more other stories out there that I really want to dig into, and at some point, I don't feel like I'm gonna go all the way to 30 in this 38 in this one. Maybe I'm gonna stop at 30
in there
if I would,
to buy a house. I told our pastor and his wife, I said, I saw the pre-approval letter, so I don't understand why he's not going to show me, to just put me at ease that he has the money in there. I had never questioned it before because, again, You tell me who in their right mind signs their name to a legally binding offer, an all cash offer on a house, and they just do it willy nilly. I don't know anyone that does that. So I actually never questioned what was in the savings because I clearly saw him sign his name to a $699,000 all cash offer on a house. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go back to the parts in this playlist where I talk about what he did when we were looking for a house. So the pastor and his wife were like, Legion, that's not his name, y'all, that's a nickname. Legion, why would you not show your wife your savings account? Like, what's going on here? And so he made up some bullshit. And I remember the pastor's wife was like, something ain't right. And so at this point, Legion kind of shuts down. He's just like, look, y'all are not going to tell me when and where I open up my accounts to show anybody the money I earned. I earned that money. I earned that money by playing football, blood, sweat, and tears. He went to this whole Denzel Washington monologue about how he earned that money, and no one is going to come in and tell him that he needs to open up the account. So then he starts talking about the ex-wife and how
I think I got what happened. I got what happened. This is not going to be a long live. I am 1 hour, 16 minutes in, and I'm going to be very fair, and I'm going to change the tag later. I think she really believed this guy. I think she felt like she saw a lick, and she didn't know she was a lick, and the lick took a licking out of her, and she got stuck. That's what I think happened. That's what I believe happened. And I feel that that's the reason why she stayed this long. She really believed there was some kind of like funds somewhere, and she feels like if she pull out too early, she's not going to have access to that funds. If this guy was talking about trust, estate, I'm like, okay, we talking about something, right? I don't want to give anyone hints. So the next scammer is going to be like, well, my estate, my dad trusted, and all the stuff is revocable trust, and this is very complex stuff. And you see what I'm saying? But I feel like she really truly believed that, like, she believed in this because she felt like she saw him as a lick. She saw him as easy money, right? She felt like she's been working her whole life, and this is going to be someone, because she's with him for very few months now. Now she's telling me she only have like a few $100s, but she was paying rent before. They moved into her place. So if C-19 happened and he didn't move in, she would have been forced to do that. So what was she really buying, doing other stuff with her money? So she saw a lick. She wanted to take that lick, and he saw her as a lick. And I just still don't understand his lick. I still don't understand it. You really don't understand it. And maybe she got the magic like stuff. Maybe that she does, because he felt he was gonna play a little game, and you know what I'm saying, one or two times and move on. But she got stuck. They both got stuck. With that being said, we're gonna go through like one or two more storyline, because I'm kind of done with this. I'm done.
he tried to
This is not what I thought it was.
get money from him in the divorce back when they were in California. So now the pastor and his wife, their red flags are just like, whoa. So much so.
So if the pastor and his wife red flag was like so whoa, how come her red flag was not whoa? Do you see how animated she was about the fact that the pastor and his wife were animated, right? But she's the one going through it. Don't tell me she's so much in love or all this like nonsense, right? I feel like she saw him as a lick, and the lick saw her as a lick, and that's what happened. They both got stuck.
That the pastor's wife said, and I will never forget this, she said, I don't think you all are going to make it to January. what she was talking about is, I don't think y'all are going to make it a year. And I really, truly was like, we're going to make it. Like, of course we're going to make it. And she was just like, I don't have a good feeling about it. And so Legion's all defensive. He at this point, he's folding his arms, and because remember, we're on Zoom. He's folding his arms and he's just like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm not going to get attacked because I'm not comfortable showing you the amount of money that I have. Money changes people. And I'm not comfortable. So he's playing that victim card. And so,
and this is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like she believed in that lick, because a lot of the stuff she's saying doesn't make any makes zero sense. If the guy have so much money buying an X5, an AK5, as Killer Cam would say, right? AK5, right? It's, if he would have bought the car, bought the house, no question asked, right? I would have understood where he's coming from. If I win $100 million right now in the lottery, right? And I meet someone I'm really in love with. I don't know this person really yet. Let's say it falls me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I fall in love with this person very short. I don't know how this person really feel about me. I'm like, wait, let's wait 10 years before I really show you, hey, listen, I got $100 million in the bank account, like cash. If I want to, I can take over a small country. If I want to, I can influence the president of the United States and like say, hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, look at Elon Musk. Look what he's doing, right? Because he doesn't really have the cash, right? He just have like his value, right? So imagine Elon Musk probably doesn't have $100 million cash. So I get it. It's going to change people. Some people, you change it, you see that amount, it's like they don't even see you anymore. It's like, listen, I fell in love with the money. So I get that part. But he's not even, can't even buy a $50,000 car, $80,000 car, or even like a used version of the car, right? If you would have came through like, yo, she's like, well, I wanted a 2024 version. He came through with a 2015. You know what I'm saying? He said, but he's a big baller. I'm gonna say, I got it. Maybe he just, you know what I'm saying? Like he's trying to fill you out. But he could not even buy any one of the version, the 2021, the 2006, not even one. And you didn't think about it? Because I get where he's coming from. Of like, hey, listen, money changes people. If someone showed me, hey, I have $100 million in a bank account, I don't know what I would do. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what I would do. But my point is this. I'm trying to say is like, I feel she was in lust with something that he potentially have. And and now she's giving us the sob story about like, I'm just a victim. No, ma'am, you're a victim of that, the fairy tale you were telling yourself.
The pastor and his wife were like, you know, we're still gonna help y'all as much as we can, but so he was like, I'm not comfortable. And basically the pastor and his wife were like, look, we'll help y'all as much as we can, but there's some deep issues here. And you know, this is what they advised us, had the two of you came to us for premarital counseling, we would have told you, do not get married. Y'all should not even be together. That is what the pastor and his wife told us in marriage counseling. If you two had come to us for premarital counseling, we would have told you, y'all should not even be together, let alone get married. But here we are. So we will help you guys as much as we can. But the pastor's wife was like, I don't have a good feeling that y'all are going to make it a year. Part 23. Who the fuck did I marry?
We're not gonna make it past part 25. I'm sorry. We're not gonna go too far. It's lots of red flag I see myself, and I just can't do this. I'm sorry. This is absurd.
Part 24, who the fuck did I marry? So, remember, we're in April. We're now moving towards the end of April, and he still did not show me his savings account. Saw the checking, saw the Chase savings. So he decides that we should start looking for a house again, because my lease was up in August, and I made it very clear that when the lease is up, I am moving. I wanted to move to Cobb County. So he was like, we need to get the ball rolling. I didn't want any parts of it. Didn't want any parts of it. He found a realtor. This time it was a woman. And I believe her name was Amber. I think her name was Amber. So he found a realtor, and he told her what the budget was. Amber started finding houses. So please understand, or you don't really have to understand, but I believed he was a sane, rational human being. Sane enough that you would not sign an offer on a home if you didn't have the money. That's what I believed. So when we started working with Amber, I believe, showed us 3 or 4 houses. It was not nearly as many as the other realtor, Scott. So one of the houses, absolutely loved. I love the house. I really wanted to put in an offer on that house, and I'm going to post it on the screen. The house. Love that house. It was just absolutely beautiful. And once again, he wanted to put in an all cash offer on the house. But before he could put in he had told Amber, I want to put in an all cash offer. And what Amber, the woman, was smart enough to say is, okay, let's just go ahead and take it one step at a time. Let's go ahead and get your pre-approval stuff together. She said, I work with a great lender who, if you're not already pre-approved, he can get you pre-approved, no issues. And then if you want to do an all cash offer, then we'll go ahead and get the proof of funds together, so that way we can submit it all with your offer. Jesus. Y'all already know what happened, because you remember what happened on the last house with Scott. Basically, Legion was like, well, I can get you whatever you need. That's fine. But I really don't want to submit proof of funds unless they accept the offer. Amber, and I don't know where she is. I don't even know if she'll ever see this video. Anyway, let me keep going, and I'll explain why that woman has a special place in my heart. So Amber was like, I totally understand, but this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to need that paperwork, okay? And we'll submit it with your offer. She just simply was like, yeah, this is how we're going to do it. And so he did not submit the paperwork when she had asked him to. And I remember I was driving to work, and I stopped at the Quick Trip on Upper Riverdale Road in Riverdale, Georgia. And Amber had called me. It was in the morning. She had called me. And I believe with all my heart that Amber knew something was up, but she also knew I did not know what was up. So she called me, and she was like, I just don't understand. Like, if he has the paperwork, like, you can submit the paperwork. But the issue was the Chase paperwork that I had was from a year prior. So my understanding was that it pretty much was no good at this point. So she said, all he has to do is just email it to me or take a picture of it. She was like, I just need to know that he's able to back up his offer. And I said, I totally get it. And she was explaining some stuff to me. She was like, you know, he needs to do X, Y, and Z. And so I said to her, I remember I said, I don't know what's going on. I said, I'm going to get down to the bottom of it, but I don't know what's going on. And so let's put a pause on this whole thing. Let's put a pause on looking at houses.
So why waste Amber's time? Okay, this is gonna be the last part. I think this whole thing is like, it's fake. I think she knew exactly who he was. And I feel like she's a loner that wants attention. I feel she's well versed in what's going on with the internet. And she just wanted her spotlight. A lot of people are going to disagree with me with this, but she just doesn't come off as a very like a scatterbrain kind of person. Even how she tells a story, the streamline of the whole process, how things went. She got something there. So you're not talking to someone who's a complete like a moron. You're not doing that, right? And I feel like she enjoyed this. I feel she enjoyed this. She is bored with her life. She needed some excitement. She's sick of people like guys literally we have like some intimate time with her and never call her again. And I feel like this is the one person that actually gave her the time and that's not married or doesn't have someone else that is continuing to show her time, that she realized that like, I like this. I like this story. This is her way of like coming to social media. Says, hey, look at me. Look at me. I need love too, because she just doesn't sound like a moron to me. And how I'm hearing all this stuff, how she's telling it is like, well, everyone else saw it besides me. And I'm just, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a victim. I don't see her as a victim. Again, I know some people that are like, okay, when you talk to them, it's like male or female, it's like, okay, something is not right. Right? I don't get that from her. I get she's a rational thinker. And if you could just watch this, listen to the story. Does this sound like a moron to you? Does it really sound like a moron to you? It doesn't, right? But this part 38, because she wanted to get to part 38. She enjoyed this. This is her fun. It's kind of sucks. Some people don't get excitement in life because of the fact that like the options available to them because they're like, I don't know, because they're weight, etc. Right? And I feel like she saw this as an opportunity to say, hey, I have a story to tell. And she let this linger on so she can tell this story. So we're going to finish up with 24 and that's it. Because I am not going to sit here and go all the way to 38. There's so much more stories to be told. And we're going to come back tomorrow. Don't forget to watch my other stories. I have something already lined up for tomorrow, which is Saturday. And also, Sunday. And also have another thing lined up for Monday. Okay. Again, for Sunday, I have something lined up. And also for for Monday, I have something lined up. But this story is over, okay?
Put a pause on getting his pre-approval letter because I'm not sure what's going on.
But that's your husband. That's the first person you chose to marry your whole life. That's why I feel like she doesn't really get that much action, as she says. Does she get people that want to like be to bed with her? Yes. She does have that, right? But to say we're gonna take this from bedding to like a wife and husband situation, I feel like this was probably one of the first person that like to offer her that opportunity, because I don't see it. I just don't see it. I'm sorry. The more she speaks, I just realize that okay, this is someone who saw this as an opportunity to like literally capitalize on this position. She's not a victim as you think at all.
She got quiet And she said, okay. I said, and I know this sounds weird. And she said, no. She said, that is actually very smart. She said, do your research. And if I can be of assistance, call me. She said, whether you buy a house with him or you buy a house on your own, I will be more than happy to represent you. I don't know where Amber is today, but that one sentence, I felt like just woman to woman, she was basically telling me something ain't right. Baby, something ain't right. And now you need to open your eyes. I'll be more than happy to work with you. If y'all get your shit together, I'll work with both of you. But whether you buy a house or not, do your research and then let me know what I can do. That was our conversation at the Quick Trip on Upper Riverdale Road. So I got off the phone. That was the last time that we worked with any sort of realtor. That was the last time that we looked at any sort of house. And I don't remember exactly what happened after that meeting that day. I do know that when I went home, I simply told him, I don't want to look at a house right now. I said, I think it's okay if we rent. We'll just find a house in Cobb County and just rent for a year. And let's build, save some more money. Let's not worry about buying a house right now. And basically
it goes with my assertion. She knew. And she's playing with it because this is exciting. This brings her drama in her life that she needed. And again, 90% of people are going to watch this are going to disagree with me, right? And I understand that because it's just how it's been perceived. But she's a very rational human being. And having 38 parts and having all this red sign and like, at what point are you going to say, well, you're an adult. You should know better. Right? If I see a woman that every time I go with her, she's like, could you give me $10,000? Give me $1,000. Every single time I see her, she's not even interested in how my day is going. It's like, do you have my money? At what point is she going to be like, well, she doesn't really like you. She doesn't give a crap about you. She's only interested in if you can give her money. I feel like people are going to say, yeah, that's a red sign. You should see that, right? But with this situation, I feel like she's getting the benefit of the doubt, right? But you can see the guy's giving her so many red flags. And she continue ones because you want to be entertained. You want to be entertained. She wants to be entertained too. And that's what I'm getting from this. This is the last part I'm going. 24 is the last one. That's
I was
it. I'm
trying
done.
to do was save face. Because that was the first time with Amber that I actually was embarrassed at the fact that he and I, because I felt like I was complicit in the fact that I'm going to look at houses with him. I felt like we are wasting these people's time. I did not mean to waste your time. I clearly see my time as being wasted, but that doesn't mean I need to waste your time. And I felt embarrassed at the fact that we wasted her time coming across as serious buyers. When time came to put up or shut up, nothing was put up. And I knew nothing. I had nothing to add to add to this, because we're talking about a $650,000 house, and I don't make that. I don't make anywhere near that. So it just became one of those situations where I was trying to save face. I was trying to save face with my husband, and I was trying to save face with Amber. And so I did say to him, let's just rent for another year, and then let's see at that time where we are, if we should go ahead and buy. So now is when shit is about to get real.
Part 24.
Yeah, it's already real for me. I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm 100% done. You get to a certain point in your life, you realize that you're not gonna take certain things, right? And this is one of the things I'm not gonna accept, right? I'm not saying 100% she's a victim, right? Or she's a perpetrator, right? I'm not saying that, right? What I'm simply saying is that, like, this sounds just too fishy for me. I can't do this. My logical way of thinking is just like, this is unacceptable. I just feel like this is like literally a clout move. And I feel like both parties need attention. It worked out. Look at it. It was all over the social media, right? And hopefully she's going to get that person that's right for her. But I also feel like I'm not going to be just I'm just not gonna stand there and say like we're gonna ignore a lot of red flags because she's just like this. Oh my God, poor her. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just not gonna do that because I feel like, again, the situation was switched. If was a guy and a woman was doing the same thing, a lot of people would not take that. Would not find that very acceptable. So with that being said, I'm done. That was my last video for this. I'm gonna fix it later because I wanted to go through like the whole 38 parts, but I'm not gonna do so. But please subscribe. Please like this video. If you dislike it, don't forget to hit it twice. Hit the dislike twice, and let me know if you like my new lighting. That I kind of like. I upgrade my lighting and also upgrade some few things. Let me know if you like it. I'm gonna see you more and more because my goal ultimately is to go live every single day. So right now I want to try to go live at least once a week, and that's what I'm gonna probably try to keep my aim to be. And we're gonna do politics, we're gonna do real life stories, we're gonna do everything. Okay, and just don't forget to subscribe and let me know what you want to see. Okay. And I look forward to seeing you in the next live. And thank you very much. Peace.